What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with some fantasy football content. Super excited about our first mock draft of 2022. Before I get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Stick around for this 2022 season. I'm going to bring you content from now throughout the rest of the year. Just took my break, so already uploaded Dynasty Buy Lows. Check those out. Those are going to be a series. That's more videos of those to come soon. I know those do pretty well on the channel usually, so I'll make sure to follow up. We talked about doing a mock draft earlier in the offseason. Now that the software is finally updated and all that stuff, people are actually starting to have some 2022 mock drafts that can take place. If you guys want to do one with me, comment down below. As always, like on the videos are greatly appreciated, and I respond to all comments. So let me know what you think of this draft. Gonna hop into it. Half point PPR, third overall pick of a 12-team league. Yeah, I have a money league coming up. I have the third pick in that league. I know it, so might as well mock draft from it. And it brings us to our first talking point. My number 3 player right now, it might be a bit of a surprise, is actually Christian McCaffrey. I'm not afraid of the injury risk. Any running back can get injured, and he just affects the game in so many different ways. I would love to have him on as many teams as I can. Okay, so let's check out how it went. JT went at 1, Derrick Henry, then Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Austin Eckler at the 107, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Justin Jefferson, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara to round out the first round. Nick Chubb, first pick of the second round. Then we got Swift, Javonte Williams, Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, Cam Akers, and Travis Kelce, bringing us up to our pick. Let's check out who is available. Hide these drafted players. Okay, wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb is available, and I do expect Amari Cooper to probably be cut in this offseason if they don't restructure his deal in some way. They've got a way to, they wouldn't take a very big cap hit, and they could get rid of that contract off their books, that $100 million deal pretty easily this offseason if they would choose. Michael Gallup's also a free agent, though, so maybe, if Michael Gallup walks, maybe they want to keep Amari. I don't know. But very interested with a lot of these players. I think I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb actually here, just because, like I said, I think he's got that Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown ability with the ball in his hands in open field to just take off. And, I like the value on him there. So after that, it went David Montgomery, Josh Allen, Antonio Gibson, and then Mark Andrews, which brings us to our third round pick. Heading back to the cheat sheets. Man, I'm not even a big Saquon Barkley believer, to be honest with you. Not that I believe in the talent, and I believe that him, gets a full off season to actually work his body. He was coming back from injury before. Should be better as a player himself, but is that same Saquon Barkley still there that we saw from that rookie season? That was just otherworldly athletic, and he needed to be to overcompensate for how bad the offense was around him. Now, I do think that the Giants are probably going to spend some of those first-round picks. They have the 2 top 10 picks, I believe, and there's a Mel Kiper report today that they are, very high likelihood they spend one of those on offensive linemen. One might not do it, but you bring somebody in free agency or something, although they don't have a bunch of cap space. I'm going to take Saquon here in the third round. He's going to get enough volume, and you got to hope some of that, old player can return. But yeah, I'm going to take him there, and we're going to see. Got my RB1, my RB2. Locked in. Leonard Fournette's still available here. Clyde is available still. Some solid running back options. After this pick, I'll go back to the draft board and show everybody what's happened since my picks. Chris Godwin's still available here, which is very interesting to me. If he returns to Tampa, although Brady's not going to be there, I'm going to take Calvin Ridley. I really like Calvin Ridley. I think he's going to get great value. If I can get him in the fourth round, I'm probably going to take him in just about every draft I can. Obviously, it would be dependent, though, upon if he's moved. Seems like that could happen potentially this offseason, the way things are sounding right now. Man, this is tough. Michael Thomas is still there, who I really do like, as well as Brandon Cooks. But, we're in this round here. I'm going to take Travis Etienne. I think he's an absolute great value. this point in the draft, I would love to plug him in as my flex player. I get another running back to add depth to my team. Yeah, and we'll see how this team kind of pans out with not a ton of picks at the high end wide receiver position. Although I was able to get CeeDee and Calvin Ridley, so I feel good about those guys. Um, what round are we in here? The 6th round. Let me check out the draft board. Like I said, you can see all the players that have been taken. Yeah, so far brings us back to our pick. Back to these cheat sheets. Some very interesting running backs still available. Not a ton of studs, honestly, as far as the wide receiver position. I do think Allen Robinson will probably be a good value, and he's a good dynasty buy low because I do think he's going to leave in free agency, and if he does, I think he's instantly going to improve. I don't think he lost as much as people think he did, but that's just me. Um, I'm actually going to take Kareem Hunt here. I just think the value at running back, he's one of the last guys I really, feel good about just plugging in every single week. I'm going to take him here, and then I'm really going to, invest in some wide receivers from the rest of the draft. And this is the guy I was hoping made it back to me, and he did. Robert Woods, I will absolutely love to take him as my wide receiver 3 in any draft. The timetable when he had his knee injury too, I do expect him to be back and ready to go at the beginning of the season. Odell Beckham Jr. Obviously towards ACL in the Super Bowl, and there's no guarantee he will be back with the Rams. Okay, let's check out running back position. I'm very glad, honestly, now that I got Kareem Hunt, just because all these options are pretty bad in my opinion. Honestly, that I looked at a running back, just not super. James Robinson, I think, is a good value, although he's returning from an Achilles injury. Tony Pollard as well, solid runner. But a lot of these other guys, are just after that are really in another tier. It really does fall off after 33, in my opinion. Okay, so taking a look at some of the guys here, I am super excited about Rashad Bateman coming into this season. But I'm actually going to take Corlyn Sutton here. I just think he's a good value at this point in the draft. I believe in the talent, and I think that there's a situation in which Denver does get a significant upgrade at the quarterback position, whether that's Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson, Russ. It could come in a variety of different ways through the draft. I just think one way or another they have to upgrade that wide receiver or that quarterback position with the way that team is built around so well. Okay, next up, I'm going to swing for the fences here in a wide receiver pick. I'm going to take Aries Tony. I just love the burst that he's got. He really is. He's another guy that will probably be featured on a Dynasty Buy Low video. Wasn't super productive in his rookie year, but you see the burst, you see the speed. You got to hope that in year 2 that he's put in more position to succeed by that offense, the players around him. Okay, we're really starting to get down into some of these later picks. Quarterback, there is still guys that I like, so I think I'm just going to stick around picking these other players. Let's check out the tight end position to see who's there. Nobody I'm too excited about. Dalton Schultz, I would be interested in depending on his free agent landing spot. I do think he's a good receiver, especially if he can return to Dallas. And Amari Cooper's gone. I could see, Amari Cooper getting cut. They re-signed Dalton Schultz, something along those lines. Maybe bring back Gallup. Who knows? I'm gonna take Julio Jones here. I think Julio could have a bounce back. He was just really banged up last year, and yeah, he is another year older, but he's still Julio Jones, and if he is healthy and ready to go, I still think he can be a pretty productive wide receiver. Cole Beasley's still available. I do like him. I think he's a good value. It's just getting later and later into this draft. I'm actually gonna take Daryl Williams, running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was actually really involved in the passing game last year and as the goal line back. And it's like if you were both those roles for Kansas City, which I'm not saying he's going to, but he's 11th round pick at this point, worth the shot. If he does retain either of those roles, I think he can be valuable for fantasy. So I'll take him there as one of the last receivers I was excited about. I'm also excited. I mean, Terrace Marshall Jr. I want to. I like the talent there. Interested in potentially investing in him. I'll take Laviska Shenault Jr. I was thinking about Marvin Jones, but Shenault Jr. is more involved last year. Although who knows how the new offense and everything will function. But honestly, I think I get a chance to get Marvin Jones. Although at this point, do I really want to take Marvin Jones and limit my upside by taking two Jacksonville Jaguar wide receivers? The likelihood of both of them being good for fantasy is fairly low. Um, yeah, so I don't really want to hamper my team in that way. You know what? I will pull the trigger on Dalton Schultz. I feel like he's a value at this point in the draft. We're getting into the 13th or 12th round here. Um, yeah, he was my 13th round pick. I love that. I was thinking about taking Fields, but there's still a quarterback that I like who is out there. Another thing to consider too, this draft really, I mean, I think somebody might have just taken a rookie, but once the NFL draft actually happens, these rookies will be taken a lot earlier, so they'll push more talent down the roster. So if it's looking a little devoid of talent, that's mainly just because of the point of the season that we're in. But again, super excited just to be mock drafting again. Um, yeah, it's just freaking sick. So Terrace Marshall Jr. is still out there. Marvin Jones Jr. is still out there. I'm gonna take Ryan Tannehill actually, because after Tannehill, I feel like everyone else kind of falls off to a degree, in my opinion. Of the remaining options, he's a tier above. Another name that I would definitely keep your eyes on moving forward in this fantasy season is assuming um, that the 49ers do move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, which it sounds like they're going to, and Trey Lance becomes the starter. I do think he's going to be good for fantasy. I don't think he's really going to be that good in the NFL. Although, going into a Kyle Shanahan system, I think there's going to be a lot of things built around him. I think he's going to run the ball a lot, though, honestly, and he just needs to play. I heard a stat the other day. He is the least snaps of any quarterback drafted in the last 40 years at playing the quarterback. And they trade 3 first-round picks for him, so they have to hope that works out, obviously. But, yeah, it's a real tough spot for them at this point. Okay, I'll pull the trigger on Marvin Jones Jr., and then we'll talk about a rookie here, this next pick. That's out there and is worth a name, especially if he, is that it? I think that will conclude our draft, actually. I was thinking about drafting Brees Hall there, but, it's kind of a cheap pick considering where he's at. But let's go over the team. So at quarterback, we've got Ryan Tannehill, running back Christian McCaffrey, RB2 Saquon, wide receiver 1 CeeDee, wide receiver 2 Calvin Ridley, tight end Dalton Schultz, and our flex we got Etienne. Bench Kareem Hunt, Robert Woods, Corlyn Sutton, Aries Tony, Julio Jones, Daryl Williams, Laviska Shenault Jr. I think it's Jr. Marvin Jones Jr. I really like this team, honestly. I like the bench. I feel like I've got a good running back, a good wide receiver, both who I can plug into my lineup with injuries or bye weeks at any point and feel good about it. And then I've got other guys I think that can develop or be big hits. And then I think probably one of those Jacksonville Jaguar receivers you cut week 1 or 2 after you see kind of how things go. But yeah, super excited about this team. Tons of more mock drafts to come. Let me know down below in the comments if you want more 2 QB mock drafts. I'm definitely going to bring them at some point. But if you guys are feeding for them, let me know. I'll hop on here do another 2 QB mock. Yeah, it's good to do another mock draft. Felt freaking good. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. This has been Fantasy Joe.